growing up gay and autistic before the internet was a special kind of hell. And this is Pride Month this month. Happy Pride to all the other gay autistic unicorns out there in the world. This is my story of growing up in the 1980s before the internet saved everybody from feeling so alone. And I just want to share my story to hopefully inspire other people out there that are in environments that are not suitable for them, that are feeling lost and lonely and ostracized from society. It's a lonely world being autistic. It's even worse when you add being gay as well, and so you get hated by even more people. So when I was a kid, I was born in 1980, so I was born pre-digital revolution. It was just starting to get digital technologies, but we didn't have computers until I was 10 years old. We had one computer for the entire school. There was no internet. So growing up in that environment, you're surrounded by the people you're surrounded with, and that's your only human interaction. You see people on TV. At that time, there were only 3 TV channels in England. We had to get another 4th channel a little bit later, but there was no internet. Literally, you had TV or newspapers or books, and that was your only source of information. And there was no positive representation of autism or any gay characters on TV. If there was, it was a joke character. It was always some really flamboyant, drag queen type of characters, which are great. I mean, I love drag queens, but I'm not a drag queen, and I didn't see any representation of people on TV that were like me, and it was this really lonely, isolating experience. You're at school, all the boys are there, talking about all the girls they fancy, and they're, oh, who do you like? And I'm like, you freeze at that question because you can't tell the truth. You can't, if you lie, then I can't stand lying. So you end up in a frozen state of mind where you can't say the truth. You can't make up a lie. You just end up looking really weird when people ask you these questions. And everyone just automatically assumes that you're straight and that you like girls just because you have a penis. And it just didn't make any sense to me as a kid. I didn't know what gay was at that time. I just wasn't attracted to any girls, and they would always say, "Oh, what girls you like? What girls you like?" I don't really that interested. And it was also really weird that you had to like football. Where I grew up, football was the thing. I hate football. I don't understand the point of kicking a ball around for no reason. Like, oh wow, you've got a ball in a net, big deal. Doesn't mean anything to me. So when people would come to me and say, "Oh, what's your favorite football team?" Again, is an awkward question. You're lost in the answer because I don't like football. If you say you don't like football, they'll beat you up for being weird. If you say the wrong team name, they'll beat you up for being weird or being on the wrong side. Like, you have to support their team. If you supported their team and you agreed with all of their ideas and their thoughts, their entertainment, everything. If you copied exactly what they wanted you to say, everything was fine. But if you had an independent thought, an independent reality that, okay, I don't like football. I'm not interested in girls. I'm not interested in watching all this nonsense on TV. I like science. I like magic. I like music. I like dance. I like acting. All these things you weren't allowed to do those. If you did those, you were queer. Oh, well, what's so bad about that? No. Being gay was literally the worst thing you could possibly be. So I'm starting to go into puberty now. I'm like 11, 12, 13 years old. And I'm like, I'm not interested in girls at all. What's wrong with me? Like, why don't I like girls? This is weird. Everyone says I'm supposed to have a girlfriend. I'm supposed to like girls. I'm supposed to be looking at Baywatch and seeing Pamela Anderson and going, oh my God, Pamela Anderson, she has a big titties. And that just didn't interest me one slightest little bit. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm one of these gay people. I didn't even know fully what it meant because they didn't teach you about it in school. There was nothing on TV about it. You just kind of felt like completely lost and alone because you couldn't speak to anyone about it. I couldn't say to my mum, so what does being gay mean? Or my dad or my sister or anyone at school. If I even mentioned it, you had to be mentioned. If you ever said the word gay, it was as an insult to someone. It wasn't something you would ever admit to being. And it just set this internal war in my brain of not being able to identify with anyone around me. Everyone around me seemed completely the opposite of me in every way. Everything they liked, I liked the opposite. Everything that they did, I did the opposite. It just felt like the whole world was upside down, and I was the only one the right way up. And obviously, I'm the one that's the wrong way around according to society. But why can't we have both? What's wrong with having both points of view? I don't understand why it only has to be one way. The neurotypical people is you must be straight, you must like girls, you must do this for your job, you must dress like this, you must think like this, you must do this, you must like this. Fuck off. I'm not interested in what you're interested in. I like what I like. And why can't I like what I like? Why do I have to like what you like? I like boys. You like girls? So what? What difference does that make? Why does that mean that I have to get beaten up, punished, made homeless, ostracized from society? Why? What's the point in that? Why does society say that, oh, okay, you like boys, therefore you're an inferior human who deserves to be beaten up every day? If you're the kind of person who does that to other people because of how they look or how they sound or how they believe or how they act or whatever it is you're choosing to single them out for and make their life absolute hell, then you are seriously fucked in the head. I don't want to be too blunt, but it's disgusting what you do to people just because they're not like you. Imagine if it was you that was in that situation and everyone hated you because you were straight and you had to pretend to be gay every day in order to fit into society. And if you accidentally slipped up, you would be beaten up for it, being straight. How would that make you feel? That's how I lived my whole teenage life. I was 14 years old and I couldn't speak to anyone. I ended up going into such a severe, deep depression that I just thought, well, what's the point in life? Everyone hates me. Everyone wants me to be dead. So why not just do it for them and end things? But luckily, I didn't do that, and I'm still here. And I can still tell this story now. But now we have the internet, and people can be free online, at least to some degree, in some countries, and not be immediately killed or attacked. But in half the world, that's not the case. In half the world, it's still illegal to be gay, which makes absolutely no sense at all. So I'm 14 years old. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. I'm not really into girls. And my dad goes and buys me Playboy magazine. Like, oh son, you're getting to be a man now. Here's Playboy magazine with Pamela Anderson on the cover. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. And I took the pictures out of the magazine and I stuck them on the ceiling above my bed. I'm lying in bed, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this is supposed to do something to me. Am I supposed to be like turned on by this picture? It just doesn't do anything. So then I started to think, well, I've been looking at pictures of male actors, especially in the Baywatch with their little red swimming trunks on. And I'm like, that's way more appealing than Pamela Anderson. And then I was just like thinking, I'm gonna go shopping, and I go to the underwear department in the shop, and they've got men in just modeling underwear with the 6-pack abs looking all hot, and I'm like, that's way sexier than women in boobies. And I was like, maybe I am actually gay. That's really seriously fucked up. Everyone's gonna hate me. And so I couldn't tell anyone. I was just frozen in my whole life. I couldn't do anything like normal people because every time I go outside, I had to lie about who I was. I had to constantly mask everything that was in my head and make sure that whenever I spoke, I always said the right thing that someone wanted me to say. Not what I actually wanted to say myself, but I had to filter everything so that I wouldn't end up being attacked. Can you imagine how fucked up that life is? If you're gay and you're autistic, you understand. If you're not gay or autistic, to have to modulate your words just to protect your life is exhausting mentally, physically. It drains your entire life force because you can't even show one shred of identity that's different to what people want you to be. So at 15 years old, the depression's getting way worse than ever. I was stuffing my face with so much food. I ended up 100 kilos. So the bullying just got worse and worse and worse because I was bullied for being fat. I was bullied for being uh, I was bullied for being gay, even though I didn't actually know I was gay at the time. They started bullying me for that. I was bullied for wearing glasses. I was bullied for being a magician. I was bullied for the way I spoke. I was bullied for the way I dressed, for the way I walked. Everything, literally everything about who I was bullied for relentlessly every moment of my life. Every time I was outside, people in the street would shout stuff at me. People would randomly attack me. It was just a living hell. And by the time I was like 15 and a half, I knew now that, yeah, I'm definitely gay. Like 100%. I'm not interested in women at all. And I was 100 kilos. There's no way I'm going to be accepted in the gay community now. Like, they'll just bully me just like everybody else. So I managed to fix my diet and lifestyle, and I managed to lose 5 stone, got down to a normal sized teenager. But still, there's no internet. How do you even find other gay people? There was no Grindr back then. Like, there was no dating sites or whatever. So the only option there ever were magazines. There's a Gay Times magazine in England. So I was like, I need to buy that magazine and at least try to find someone else like me. I couldn't go to my local corner shop and just buy a copy of Gay Times. No way. So I got on the train and I went to the other side of London, miles away from where I lived, bought the magazine, snuck it back home and reading the magazine in the dark with a torch under the bed so in case no one saw me, and I'd hide the magazine under my bed. And I was reading it. I was like, oh, there are other people like me. I'm not the only one. And that was a really huge relief. But I still couldn't talk to anyone about it. I couldn't go anywhere. I was too young for clubbing, and so it's just made me feel at least a little bit less of a freak because I knew I wasn't the only one. There were more people out there that were like me, but I just couldn't reach any of them and communicate with anyone. And I was like, I need to go to a gay club. I need to actually go and hang out somewhere where there's other people like me. But I was 16 years old, and you have to be 18 in England to drink alcohol. So all the gay places are over 18. And I was like, what if I make a fake ID? So I was a printer in my previous job. So designing an ID card was easy for me. So I made an ID card, and I looked up in the back of Gay Times magazine. There were listings for clubs. I was like, I can't go somewhere in London. What if someone sees me? I will get caught and I'll be found out. So I went to Blackpool, which is a beach town up in the north of England, and they have quite a good gay scene there. So I saw in the back of the Gay Times an advert for a pub called the Flying Handbag. So I was like, okay, let's go, let's try. So I went on holiday on my own at 16 years old. I went to go and stay with my aunt who lived in Blackpool. So I was still with family. So my parents were like, yeah, it's okay, you go stay with auntie. She'll be happy to see you. So I go and stay with my auntie in Blackpool. And I've got the address for this club. There was no GPS or anything back then, so I had to look it up on a real map. And I found the address and I found where this bar was. And I was absolutely shitting my pants. I was so scared of going anywhere near it. All the anxiety building up. What if I get caught? What if I get caught? What if I get caught? What if someone finds out I'm gay and beats me up? What if all these fears, all these anxiety just relentlessly holding me back from doing anything. And I went to the club. It was a pub, and they let me in. There was no security on the door or anything. So I just got in and went up to the bar and I was like, "Hi, can I get a vodka and coke, please?" And I'm trying to be all manly and look like I'm not a teenager. And they're like, looked at me a bit weird, like, "You got any ID?" I'm like, yeah, of course I have. Yeah, here you go. I show them my fake ID. And they're like, "Okay, no problem. Get me a vodka and coke." And I'm like, "Oh my god, it worked! It worked! Oh my god, I'm in a gay bar. This is weird as fuck." And there were all these people around, drag queens playing music, and it was just such a surreal experience to finally be in a room full of people that were like me. But I was so terrified to speak to anyone. I was just standing there, oh my god, what are we doing now? Just drinking alcohol, just trying to get some judge courage kind of thing. But it was a horrible experience. And then this guy came up to me and, "Oh mate, do you want to make 50 quid in the toilet?" I'm like, "What? No, I don't want to go into the toilet and make money. What are you talking about? Go away, please." And that was just like my first interaction in a gay bar was someone offering me 50 quid for a blowjob in the toilet. I was like, this isn't good for me. I don't like this very much. I wasn't very comfortable around people and loud environments. The autism gives you sensory issues. Things are too loud, too bright, too noisy, too chaotic. It just messes with your nervous system, and things can be overwhelming. So I'm in a loud bar full of people drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes. Everyone smoked back in the 90s. It was disgusting. So my lungs are being assaulted, my nose is being assaulted, my eyes and my ears are being assaulted. Just absolute chaos in my head. So I just drink more alcohol to try and numb my body just a little bit. And I kind of got into the flow a little bit. The drag queen was quite funny, and she really liked me. She kept picking on me and making jokes about me, which was quite cool. And then attached to the pub, there was a nightclub called Flamingos, which I was like, all right, I'm going to go here afterwards. And it was amazing. The music was awesome. There was hundreds and hundreds of gay people like me, and I was dancing around, and I was just like, wow, okay, I don't feel quite so lonely anymore. There are people like me. But then it kind of sunk in. I've got to go back home to a place where everyone hates me. Everyone wants to kill me. Everyone wishes that I was dead. People even tell me, "I'm going to stab you tomorrow." How do you know if they're joking or not? You don't know if they're joking. You don't know if you were going to get stabbed tomorrow or the next day or the day after that. Every day you live in complete fear because everyone threatens your life every day. And if they didn't know I was gay at that point. I was just bullied for being gay without, them actually knowing it was true. And if I actually told them, oh, fucking hell, I don't know what would have happened. It would have been pretty dangerous, I think. So I went back to school. This was the Easter holiday that I went up to Blackpool. So then back to school for the final exams for GCSEs. And I have had enough of England. I've had enough of England completely. I want to move to America. So one day at school, there was a presentation from a company that do student exchange programs with the USA. And I was like, oh my God, this is my ticket. This is my ticket out of this fucking hole of a country. England was just fucking nasty, and it still is now. But it was before the internet, it was even worse. So I was like, this is my one ticket out of here. Can I get this program to accept me and send me to California or somewhere where there's not going to be so much horrible homophobia? I got accepted to the program, and that's going to be another video. But I was in the last month of school. We were on study break for revision for the exams, and I'm going to try a club in London. So one day I looked in the back of Gay Times magazine, found this club and some pubs, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go clubbing in London. This is horrifically scary. So I went down to Soho, the gay capital of London, and this road called Compton Street, and on Compton Street there's a pub called Compton's. It was the first gay pub in London that I went to. So I'm in there and I'm waving my fake ID, and everyone accepted it back then. It was great. You didn't have to have official passport or anything. They just did, as long as they had something, they didn't care. So I'm 16. I'm in the pub just drinking vodka and coke. It was the only thing I would ever drink is vodka. I hated beer. It just tasted all alcohol tasted disgusting to me. It was just such an intense, vile taste that made me sick. But vodka I could just about handle. So I'm necking as much vodka as I can to just deal with the sensory overload of being in a pub full of people, loud, everything is crazy. Um, and it was just, was impossible to talk to anyone. Just fear just made me freeze. Every time I wanted to speak to someone, my whole body would just tense up, and that was it. Couldn't speak, I couldn't move. I could only talk to people if they made the first move to come and talk to me. And I'm still a bit like that now. I still hate making the first move to talk to someone. It's really awkward for me. From years of being abused for who I am, showing myself to someone else or voluntarily is dangerous in my head. So it brings up all the fear and anxiety and the PTSD of all the attacks in the past. So I'm in this pub, like I'm really talking to anyone. Eventually, a couple of people would come and say hi and have a little chat. But I really didn't like the pub environments because I didn't like alcohol. It just stunk of beer. It stunk of cigarettes. It was just not the environment I felt comfortable in at all. So I was there for a little while and then went off to a club called GAY. And wow, changed my life completely. Changed my life completely. I was thousands and thousands of people in there. It's a huge club. Some nights it was 5,000 people on a Saturday night with a big act on. It would be sold out with 5,000 people. They had parties on Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So I started going out a little bit more regularly. I'd say to my mom, I'm just popping around the friend's house, going to stay there tonight. And she's like, oh, okay, see you in the morning. And then I'd go off and I'd be partying till 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, get the bus home. And then sometimes I'd hang out somewhere afterwards in a cafe so that I was get home at the right time. But I finally felt like I had some place in the world. And that was just before my GCSEs. So I just discovered gay clubbing and then did all my exams. And at the end of the exams, I was like, I'm about to leave to go to America. So what happens if I tell my friends that I'm actually gay? This was early, it was mid 1997 at this time. There was no gay representation anywhere. And it was just the worst thing in the world to be gay. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it. So I said to 2 of my friends, do you want to go clubbing tonight? I know this really cool club in London that let you in without ID. Because they were all 16 as well. And I was like, yeah, we'll go. And I was like, well, I'll play it safe. I will take them to Heaven on a Friday night, because on Heaven on a Friday night back then, it was more of a mixed crowd. It wasn't all 100% gay. And GAY was really like, we're super gay. But Heaven was more of a mixed crowd on a Friday night. So I took them down to Heaven. We're in Heaven for like 2 or 3 hours. And there I went down and talked to my favorite barman, who was really super, super cute. And then 1 minute they came down and took to my back and said, "Oh, mate, do you know this is a gay bar?" No, really? I was like, "Why do you think I come here?" They're like, "Oh, well, you queer? Are you queer?" I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm like, "Oh my god." And that night I was supposed to be staying at their house, and they left the club and abandoned me and never spoke to me again. So yeah, that was interesting. But their reaction was kind of what I expected. And yeah, I have not seen or spoken to any of them since. But at least I have finally had that word come out of my mouth, I'm gay, I said it to someone, then the relief that brought inside me was that, okay, you can actually say those words. You can say those words and not immediately receive violence. They abandoned me, so you've still got the abandonment wound, but you don't have the abandonment plus the violent wound. So I was like, okay, so that kind of went how I expected, but at least it gave me that first time that I actually said the words out loud. And then that summer was Gay Pride. It was the first gay pride I ever went to, and it was back in the days. It was about 250,000 people. It was a big parade through London, and then it ended up in Clapham Common at that time. And I got to Clapham Common, and this absolutely monster festival with hundreds of thousands of gay people, and I was like, holy shit, wow, okay, I'm not alone. There are people like me, and I finally feel that there's a safe place that I can be myself. And it changed my life. And at that point, I was like, okay, so I didn't know what autism was at that point. I didn't know these sensory issues and these problems with anxiety and depression were all related to autism. But at least I knew now that I was gay, and I had a place where I could be safe and be myself. And then, boom, I moved to America. And unfortunately, I ended up in Georgia. And if you've been to Georgia or Alabama or anywhere in the deep south and you're gay, then you know what I'm about to say. So yeah, that's next story. If you want more from this story, like and subscribe and comment below if you're a gay unicorn. And I'll see you in the next story. Bye.